Welcome to Motherly Mondays. Hope you're having a good day.
Alright, Mom, so this week the topic is gay marriage in Maryland. As you know, the Senate passed it and made it legal, making Maryland the 8th state to legalize gay marriage. But if people get 55,000 signatures, it will go to a statewide vote, which I personally think goes against civil rights. What do you think about gay marriage?
I think anybody who wants to get married should have the right to marry whoever they want to marry.
And you called in to the delegates and said you were in support of same-sex marriage. Do you remember that?
I did.
Yeah, I put that on YouTube.
I know.
Yeah. So, what do you think about Maryland being the 8th state?
I think it's good. Maryland is like an influential state. I mean, it's near Washington. It's the hub of a lot of big businesses. And I think if you have a big state, sort of like California, Texas, even Maryland, I know it's a smaller state, but we are kind of influential in some regards. I think that might make people pay more attention to how serious and how real this is becoming.
Why do you think so many people oppose gay marriage when it doesn't affect them at all?
Because they're not used to it. I had to kind of get used to the whole idea, but as I learn more and more about you and your friends and just being around people, I realized that, everybody has a right to marry who they want to marry. There's so many marriages that are unhappy between man and women, or men and women, that if you find somebody you want to marry and you want to make the life and death decisions for, everybody should have somebody that's on their side, that has their best interest at heart, and they should have the right to marry that person.
Well, see, you've come to terms with it, but a lot of people, are very outspoken and make a lot of bigot-type comments, and they're just rude, and they always talk about religion. Now, you raised us Mormon, and you're Mormon.
Right.
But you've never promoted gay hate, you've never said that it was wrong in the eyes of God. Why do you think you're able to think for yourself without listening to what everybody else says?
Well, number one, it's never mattered to me what everybody else said. I always had to think for my own self. Sometimes it takes you a little longer to come to terms with something like this, or some people have to come to terms with the fact that their child is gay anyway, and then that they want to marry, a girl might want to marry a girl. I mean, it's a weird concept to a lot of people, because it's not something that when you're raised and you've only ever heard of, a bride and a groom, and that's all you see. The wedding cake tops are brides and grooms. You have tuxes, you have wedding gowns. I mean, you're only used to that, so you really can't fault those people that may take a little bit longer to get used to it. Just like we were talking before we started taping about black people getting complete civil rights, which of course they should.
Women.
Yeah, women getting the vote back in I think it was the 20s. I mean, and women staying at home and taking care of children, that's where I wanted to be. But, I mean, that doesn't mean women can't be doctors, lawyers, and whatever they want to be. That wasn't the norm for a long time. So it's milk before the meat. That's my big motto in life. So you really can't hate the people that think it's just a real weird concept. I think they just don't get it if they don't have somebody in their lives who are gay, because they don't get how important it is to those people.
The problem is some of them are incredibly selfish. They'll make comments such as, we need to focus on things that matter. And it's like they've gotten everything handed to them on a silver platter, and they already had their rights, but it's like, I can't understand why they can't understand that gay people are fighting for this when we don't have what they have.
Well, again, it's just something that they're not used to. And I'm not sure whether rude people, it's because they're ignorant, and that's not to be said in a nasty way, but ignorant as far as not being educated on the situation or on that particular topic. So they're either ignorant of it, or it's their way of trying to make themselves understand something they have absolutely no clue what's going on, and they don't know how to react to it. A lot of people, you get a lot of funny reactions from people when they're uncomfortable about something.
Well, people argue that if gay marriage is legalized, the next step would be allowing bestiality and incest marriages and things like that, and I think that's just ridiculous, because gay marriage doesn't hurt anybody else.
No, it's all about love. It's not about hurting anybody, it's about love.
Right, but I'm saying bestiality and incest can hurt. If an incest couple procreates, that baby can have a lot of complications when born. An animal doesn't have the right to say no. It's not able to.
Right, that's a whole other thing.
I don't understand why people think that that's what's going to lead if gay marriage is allowed.
Well, because a lot of people think it's very weird that two men would be in love, and because I'm telling you, it'll take another generation or probably 2 generations before people just accept it as the norm, because it is going to be the norm. I didn't always think that way. I had to learn.
Mom, you're going to come to my wedding, right?
Yes.
Are you?
Yes.
It's going to be a big party.
Well, I would think so.
So, Fox 45, just real quick, put that link on their website, a local news station, to be in support of a referendum, which would mean the possibility to overturn the vote to legalize gay marriage in Maryland.
Right.
You know my opinion on that I think it's a complete breach, or I guess you'd say, of civil rights to people, because they're making gay people second class, which we're not. And I started the petition, which I'm going to post a link in this video to everyone watching. But Mom, what do you think about the news giving an opinion versus just the news?
I have always said, and I don't understand why it's allowed. I know that some news channels go left, some go right, but I think you got to go right in the middle. You have to say, this is even Steven. If you have a site where you can sign up for gay marriage, you ought to have one for against, and vice versa. If there's one for against, then you should have one for. Everything should be even Steven in the news world. I don't understand why all of a sudden, if you turn, like Channel 63, I used to watch that all the time, but now I don't like to watch that.
What network is that, Mom?
63 Fox.
So it's the Fox. The rumor is it's Fox corporate.
Yeah, I would tend to believe that. And I used to watch it all the time, but now I don't like to watch it because I can't stand. If I wanted their opinion, I'd ask them. I wanted to hear the news straight down the middle and let me figure out what I believe or what I don't believe. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a nice day. Look at my shirt.
Mothers of Marvelous Sons.
Woo!
She's a big supporter.
I'm a supporter because I love my kid. Mwah!